of Telangana to deliver his keynote address. Sir, please. It's an honor, sir.
See, all these other gentlemen get invited by a nice girl, and then I get invited by a bearded man. Thank you, man. Thank you, Omkar. Agalesunda? Tinleda inka? I think half of you have eaten and half of you haven't, so nice. That's all not my fault. In fact, it's all Jayesh Ranjan's fault. I told him the meeting should be at 1 o'clock, but obviously Jayesh had other plans. So thank you for having us. Thank you very much. Thank you, Omkar. That was a joke, of course. You're a very good-looking man. Thank you, Aparajita. Thank you, Suresh Garu, for having us. Thank you for this wonderful event. Thank you, Krish. And thank you for our visiting friends from Germany. We have a Chris and a Krish. We have two of you on the same podium. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Dirk. Thank you, Jayesh. Thank you, Amar. And to all the family of ZF. I think what's fabulous is those numbers that were just mentioned. I don't know how many of you know this, but you've just joined a very elite club. You know, Amazon's world's largest campus, world's largest presence in terms of number of employees, is not in the US, is not in Seattle. It is actually in Hyderabad. Now, ZF's largest technology center being in Hyderabad, you've just joined a league with Amazon, so I think the entire family of ZF deserves a huge round of applause. And as Suresh pointed out, that 0 to 70% CAGR is what you said. 70% compounded annual growth rate is stupendous. So going from 0 to 2900, you know, I think we all dream of our vehicles going from 0 to 114 in like 10 seconds and 5 seconds. I think that's the usual, you know, automobile industry parlance. So this is brilliant, what you've done from 0 to 2900, being the largest technology center, I think covering over 100, supporting over 100 different locations across the world is a brilliant, brilliant addition. So my compliments to the entire family of ZF. In fact, the conversation started, I mean, I'd be remiss not to mention Mamta Chamarthi, who actually facilitated the initial intro, the conversation. Wherever she is, Mamta, thanks to you. What started, as was pointed out, as a small little seedling, you know, with Suresh, you and all others, has today become a huge, gigantic tree. And I'm hopeful, because I just heard Dirk say something which was interesting. I'm going to repeat it. I think it's not going to stop at 2900. He just mentioned, you know, you're aiming at 5,000, which I think is going to create 2,000 more jobs in Hyderabad. I have just come off another meeting, which was very exciting for me personally, because just this morning, we released our annual performance report of the IT department in Government of Telangana. In fact, it's a fabulous story, what has happened over the last 8 years. Tomorrow we complete 8 years as a new state. 8 years ago when the state was founded, the IT exports were languishing around 57,000 crores of rupees per annum. The previous year, that was 2013-14. When the journey started, it was 57,000 crores of exports and 320,000 people working directly in the IT sector in Hyderabad and in Telangana. But now, if you look at the story after 8 years, what's impressive is not just the growth in terms of exports. What's equally impressive is the number of employees that have been added. From 57,000 crores, today we stand at 1,83,000 crores. We have actually more than tripled. So it's more than a 300% growth, which is stupendous. And I think one of the reasons why that has happened is because of organizations like ZF and the confidence that they've reposed in Hyderabad, in Telangana, and how you went from 0 to 2,900 over the last 5 years. I think you guys have been a significant player in that growth story as well. Likewise, the number of employees was about 320,000 when we started this as our journey as a new state. Now it's at nearly 800,000 employees, so almost 480,000 addition, which is stupendous. And let me also tell you one more thing. Last year, our growth in terms of IT exports was at around 26.14%, while the entire national average is about 17%. So we are growing at about 9% higher than the national average. And let me also tell you Let me also tell you, according to NASSCOM, last year in India, across the country, about 450,000 new jobs have been added in IT sector, out of which 150,000 came from Hyderabad. That means 1/3 of the new jobs that have been created last year were created in Hyderabad. Just trying to tell you that this is a fantastic city with a vibrant ecosystem, with more and more opportunities for talented youngsters. I think what's important for us to realize is that government of Telangana has not only focused on the large companies like ZF. We've also invited smaller companies to participate in our mobility cluster. We've also been able to forge very interesting partnerships. I was amazed when I met Dirk recently in Zurich, and of course Suresh in the initial days, to learn about your plans for Hyderabad. You're doing some tremendous stuff from here. You're doing e-mobility, you're working on autonomous driving, you're working on active and passive safety, you're working on a number of cutting edge things which are possibly not immediately relevant for India, but eventually I think we'll get there. Because in India the roads are chaotic, I don't have to tell you. I have to tell you a funny story though. I was looking at the autonomous driving feature here, and I was inquiring with your team if that autonomous vehicle is actually being run in India, because I was a bit scared, just wanting to make sure I don't go in the way of that, right? So they said, no, it's in Rotterdam and in Germany. I said, cool. I remember one thing, about 5 or 6 years ago, when the whole smart city thing was being talked about. There was I'll not name names, of course. There was a multinational company from the US. They had come in. They said, we have something very cool to offer you. I have a technology that basically sends an alert to your cops, a message to your cops, if somebody cuts their lanes abruptly. Like if you switch lanes without an indicator, without a proper transition, it can send you a trigger. It can send you an alert. So I smiled at them. I said, listen, why don't you give me something, which will send me an alert when somebody is coming at me in a one-way street. They were amused. They were like, why would you need that? I mean, it's a one-way, right? I said, welcome to India, welcome to Hyderabad. See, we are a very different bunch, We are a very, very different, kind of people. Our driving, in fact, I think Mark Tully called it very, very famously. I think the two gentlemen here, Dirk and Chris, would appreciate it. India, when you come here and when you hit the roads and when you start driving, you'd be scared initially. You'd be like, okay, there are no lanes. Okay, where is anybody headed? But Mark Tully called this brilliantly. He captured it brilliantly. He said, it's organized chaos. That's what we are. We are organized. You would think it's chaotic, but we are very organized chaotically also. So that way, I think ZF will have to write an entirely new set of programming and a new set of code for autonomous vehicles in India. That's the real challenge. If you can pull that off, I think I think that would be the eighth wonder, I would imagine. I'm just joking, of course. I'm just joking. Please, to the press people, I was joking. I was not tarnishing India. I was not saying anything to India. If I'm saying anything, if I'm saying anything at all, it was all in jest. I'm not saying anything at all. Otherwise, I'll be called Deshdrohi, anti-national. A lot of things will get thrown at me in social media immediately. I'll be immediately expelled from the nation also, possibly. So, you know how it is in India right now, but I don't go there. So the point is, guys, you have a fantastic company that you work with, the fantastic company that you work for. But we have even better plans. In fact, we have invited ZF to be a part of TMV, the Telangana Mobility Valley. And you have some very interesting partners and interesting company there. You have Hyundai, who's working with us. You have Stellantis, who's working with us. You have Bosch, who's working with us. You have, of course, ZF. It goes without saying. You are in Pune, Suresh, so Intel, Qualcomm, Micron, and we also have Bharat Forge, the Kalyani Group. So all of these interesting players coming together and creating this mobility ecosystem is something that I'm truly upbeat about, because I believe the next frontier, because for India, from a jobs perspective, from wealth creation perspective, is in emerging technologies, and mobility is one very, very important sector. Sustainable mobility, shared mobility, and a bunch of other variants of mobility that people talk about. When I say variant, I'm sure you're all thinking COVID. And let me also tell you, our strengths in life sciences, again, are unparalleled. In fact, Hyderabad is home to 1/3 of human vaccines produced globally. So we are the vaccine capital of the world. So all the ZF expansion plans that you have, guys, you're in safe hands is what I'm saying. You know, you don't have to worry about availability of vaccines and all. The other thing I also wanted to request Suresh. Suresh, I know you're based in Pune. I know you love Pune. I also went to school in Pune. I did my master's from Pune University. I also love Pune. I love Bangalore as well. But I think Hyderabad is the best, without a question. You know? I love all these cities. Chennai is also nice. I mean, Chennai is also nice. They have a nice government, nice people. Delhi, I can't say the same, but I think they're also nice people. The government is not okay. They're okay. So Hyderabad is that location, Suresh, where you will get the best bang for the buck. I know that you just told me that for future manufacturing, that you would have us in your plans. But for that, you have to come here, see us more often. You know, with Krish, you have to talk more often. We have to bring you to our brilliant biryani and brilliant halim here. We have great stuff, by the way, I have to tell you. You'll not get that in Pune, for sure. So all of this is what makes us what we are, you know, a brilliant city. Communal harmony is intact, you know, no nonsense here, no halal, hijab nonsense. We are focused on getting work done. We are focused on business. We are focused on economics, not politics. I think that's important, guys, because it's important for us to realize a country like India cannot afford to have politics supersede economics. If we have to create wealth, if we have to create jobs, if we have to really aspire to be the best in the world, there is no substitute for any government but to focus on economics, wealth creation, job creation, and not nonsensical propaganda alone. You know, politics can happen every once in 5 years. We can fight, we can let people decide who gets to do what. But the remaining time has to be completely focused on governance, delivering, you know, good governance and ensuring that we create wealth for the nation. The reason why I say this is because, you know, each and every time I travel, now I was in Davos recently, I went to the World Economic Forum. From there I came to Zurich, I met Dirk there, and then I flew back. I went to London for a day, picked up my family, and then came back here. Each and every time I visit any country abroad, and I'm sure most of you do the same as well, especially after COVID, I'm sure most of you are on that revenge tourism mode, and a lot of you want to travel. You know, each of you is posting on Instagram about wanderlust, you know, I know all that. So each and every time I visit any other country, I feel really bad. I come back with a mixed bag of emotions. You know, this great country of ours, with amazing talent, amazingly talented people, amazingly talented think force, who has the ability to produce leaders for the rest of the world. We have our own Indian guys running Microsoft, you know, which is not too far from here. We have our own Indian guys running Google, which is also not too far from here, their second largest campus. We have them running IBM. We have them running Twitter. We have them running so many, I think I can count about 52 different large multinational companies which are being currently run by people of Indian origin. Now that is the talent of India which the world admires. But each and every time you go abroad, you see all these amazing people doing amazing things, amazing Indians doing amazing things overseas. Then you come back, you start thinking. I think all of us also need to think. Back in 1987, you know, India and China, I mean, in terms of sizes, population sizes, we are almost the same. We were thereabouts. Even now, I think they're possibly 5 or 10% bigger, but we're thereabouts. Back in 1987, 35 years ago, India and China, our GDP was exactly similar, $470 billion. Now, you cut to 35 years later, their economy now is about, their GDP is about 16 trillion. And India is still dreaming, you know, about 5 trillion economy. Where did we miss the bus? What happened? If we were of the same size, we had the same potential, then how is it that in 35 years later, how is it that after 35 years, China is the second largest economy after the United States, and we are still dreaming of that 5 trillion? It's because they got their priorities right. It's because they decided that they will focus on economics. It's because they have decided that they will create wealth for the nation. They will contest and compete with the best in the world. They are not content in competing with India. They decided that they will compete with Germany. They decided that they'll compete with US. They decided that they will compete with the best in the world. And where did we go wrong? We decided that we will compete with Pakistan. We decided that we will be happy competing with Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. And look where we are. Isn't that a brilliant sort of a benchmark to have. If we want to take pride in beating Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka and Afghanistan, then we are doomed. We are never going to be in the first world. We'll always have to go have a holiday elsewhere and not in India. That's an unfortunate reality. So therefore, that's why I say politics can wait. Economics has to take center stage. India has to go bold, at least for the next 1 decade or 2 decades, and aspire to get right up there, compete with the best in the world. And then we can do lots of other things, lots of other nonsense, which I'm sure they're doing in Germany as well. A lot of right-wingers, left-wingers fighting each other. All that can go on forever. So my humble appeal to all of you, focus on job creation, focus on doing more cool stuff from ZF Hyderabad. In fact, we should have more and more Germans coming here to learn from you, Indian guys, on how to do the best engineering, for their automobiles. I think German engineering is world class. We all know that. The Beamers, the Mercs, and every other product that we love in India as well and across the world as well are all German. Their engineering prowess is well known. But let's compete. Let's actually create new benchmarks from this ZF facility in Hyderabad so that not only Dirk and Chris, but the entire ZF team will come here, learn from you guys and appreciate you for your talent. So all the very best. Thank you. Jai Telangana.
Thank you so much, Shri KT Ramarao Garu, for such a wonderful message. I can see that you have started hugging us with your words like organized chaos, and then you started aspiring us that Hyderabad is the best, and then you started making us start watering our mouths with Halim and Biryani, and then you continued paving a vision and path for all of us. Now I understand the definition of leader standing in front of this podium just before me. Thank you so much. Now please join me welcoming our Vice President, Head of ZF Tech Center India, Mr. Jaganmohan, onto the stage to give his word of thanks.
Good afternoon all. Warm welcome and greetings to Shri KT Ramarao Garu, Honorable Minister, to Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, IAS Secretary, Government of Telangana. Hope you can hear me better now. And Mr. Amarnath, you have been a great support for us in interacting with us. I think this we have assembled today, and I want to give a vote of thanks on behalf of the entire team, both who are here physically. I can see it's a large crowd, probably a record that we have achieved today after 2 years of COVID. Yes or no? Yes. Thank you. And I have assured Dirk that we'll have the same crowd every day. Thank you. Okay. That's nice. Thank you. And also it's something that we have also learned with the government of Telangana of how we are supported through the COVID. So that's one part. Again, it is also being beamed online. So all of you have a look at what we are achieving. And in fact, on behalf of the entire team in Tech Center India who are present as well as viewing online, I would like to thank all the speakers on the dais and also the leaders who have been giving the messages today. And I am very grateful to Shri KT Ramarao Garu because earlier today I had the opportunity to be part of the annual report. And as he mentioned today, it is the two key parameters that we are looking at. How much of an export? The export, as he mentioned, is about 9% more than the average. And similarly, in terms of direct job employment,